Oh my goodness.
You're my good boy.
Look at your paws.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. In the state of Oregon. Now, they're not being able to ever suggest, though. Anything that can run 35 miles per hour and jump 6 feet in the air, guaranteed won't do well in other people's houses. Also, since he is a rodent, he wants to chew on everything, and they're not picky either. Wall corners, electrical cords, furniture, you name it. If it's within reach, they're going to chew on it. And then for those in back, you guys are welcome to come up and pet him if you guys would like. Always stay behind someone you pet. We'll use a flat hand and touch only the back and never the head. Guaranteed he's most likely not going to feel like what you expect. Most people look at this guy and think bunny rabbit, and then they start to pet. Not a bunny rabbit, very waxy, very greasy. And that waxy coat does have water repellent properties. Unlike his cousin the capybara though, these guys are not really grassland creatures. They're not really wetland creatures, they're more of a grassland critter. They're also extremely social too, so in the wild they live in groups with usually one male in charge of 2 or more females, which sounds extremely chaotic in my opinion, but whatever works for them. Now along door number 2, our North American raccoon named Rocket. If it gets too oxidized for his liking, he will not touch it. He'll take a bite and spit it out, and I'm not even exaggerating on that. It's slower than he normally eats it, and that's because I cut it up like 10 minutes ago as opposed to like right when I announced. He's very picky. Awesome, you guys. Any Rocket. So just as a reminder of the rules for her, it'll be just like the KB, only a little more important that we are staying all the way behind her when we pet. We're going to use a flat hand and touch only her back and never her head. Now, raccoons are native basically throughout most of North America, and they are highly intelligent creatures. In some studies, they've been shown to be better at problem solving than most of the primates. So one of the studies that was actually done on these guys, they were given 30 puzzles to complete. They could solve 27 of them and remember them 3 years later, better than I could probably ever do personally. Now, part of the reason why they do get into things so easily is they happen to have fully opposable thumbs. So they're extremely good at manipulating things, whether it's twisting them, unlatching them, and what they can't figure an easy way to get into, they will make their own. They're very strong, it's very tough for their size. Now, temperament-wise, these guys are like taking care of eternal 2-year-olds that in captivity can live up to 20 years, acting like a 2-year-old all those 20 years. Now, in the wild, unfortunately, much shorter lifespan, they only live an average of 5 years. And we're unfortunately their #1 cause of death, oftentimes hit by cars, trapped for coats, or euthanized because they do become nuisance animals easily. And that's why if you have these guys in your neighborhood, you never want to intentionally feed them or any wildlife, because that's what makes them lose their natural fear of us, and that's why they get in trouble with us.
So how about them? Can we legally have them as pets?
Not in most states. We'll just be sure only the back, never the head. Oh, never the head, remember. Because the head is where the teeth are, and her jaws are strong enough they can break open clam and crab shell with just their jaws. Right? I know I would never suggest one of these guys as a pet. So they're like taking care of a 2-year-old for 20 years straight, or more. There's actually a case of them living over 25. And I don't even know a lot of parents that want to take care of their human kids for 18 years.
I want to work here.
Ferret. So we are all more than welcome to pet, and we are welcome to hold them too. Of course, with any small kids, we are going to want big kid help when it comes to picking up and holding these guys. And like all of our animals, remember we'll use a flat hand and touch only the back and never the head. Does anyone like to start us off? Very sweet. He doesn't quite live up to his name, Stinky. And if he ever gets wiggly, you guys are more than welcome to place him down on the rail. He'll usually run back and forth and try to get to my pockets because I'm the magical treat lady. Now, ferrets, they're actually the 3rd most common house pet here in the US after cats and dogs. Now, you're not actually allowed to own them everywhere. If any of you guys live in California or Hawaii, you are out of luck. They're illegal in both of those areas. There's also a couple cities that have outlawed ferrets too, and it's for many different reasons. The #1 reason is because they are escape artists and they don't want them becoming an invasive species. So the way their bodies are built is if their skull can fit, the rest of their body can. And that's because their backbone has very little bone in it. It's almost entirely cartilage. Now, along with them being known for being escape artists, they're also known for being kleptomaniacs. And that is why their Latin name literally translates to mean hairy, stinky feet. Now, along with them being known for being escape artists and stealing, they love to sleep. They sleep about as much as our big kitties out in our park today. So genetically, this little one's more closely related to otters than actually rats and mice. But I like to refer them as domesticated land otters. So this here is Miss Eclair. And Eclair is a 6-month-old chocolate striped skunk. Now, we are all more than welcome to pet. I do ask that we do not pick her up, though. And then just same rules as all these guys. We'll use a flat hand and we'll touch only the back and never the head. And then as on the tail end of her, don't worry, all of our skunks in our park have been descented for your sake and ours. And anytime you guys actually smell skunk during your visit, it's actually the foxes most likely that you're smelling and not the skunks. That's why if they ever say you smell foxy, don't take that as a compliment. Now, she is the exact same type of skunk that you find basically throughout most of North America. The striped skunk is not only the most common skunk here in North America,
It doesn't
but it's
even
the
look like
largest.
it has a spine.
We have 2 other species. We have the hooded skunk that's native to the southwestern part of the U.S. and Mexico. And we have the hooded skunk that's native to a different couple areas.
He is the cutest thing ever.
Now, the reason why she looks a little different, you guys can come out too. The main reason why she looks a little different, she just happens to have a gene where instead of her being black with the white stripe, she is brown with the white stripe. Now, they can come in other color variations. They can be lavender, where it's just kind of a gray color. They can be apricot, which is kind of a peachy color. They can also be completely white and completely black too. Now, usually the color variations do not last long in the wild, and that's because their black and white coloration is a warning to other animals. Black and white is a very bold color, and so it basically tells other animals, leave me alone, I'm dangerous. Now, skunks in the wild typically prefer not to spray unless they absolutely have to. And that's because once they spray, it can be an extremely long time before they actually get all their spray back. Usually an estimated period of time, depending on the size of the skunk, it can take anywhere from 72 hours to up to 2 weeks. Yeah, and that's a massive chunk of time to be vulnerable. Make sure always black hands, because sometimes scratching can agitate. I was imagining scratching the exact same part of your back by everybody. You get a little raw after a while, huh, Miss Eclair? Now, even though she's very sweet-tempered, skunks in general are actually notorious for being territorial animals. And that's why in the few cases of people having them as pets, they're excellent guard dogs. They're not afraid to chase off anything. Now, for a long time, people used to think that skunks and ferrets were part of the same family. They used to think skunks were weasels. Thanks to genetic testing, though, they've actually proved otherwise. Now, skunks are in their own family group, along with what's called a stink badger is in the family group of the skunks. I've never seen a stink badger, but I assume it's appropriately named. Yeah. I know, you know, I have snacks in my pocket. Awesome. Anybody else that would like to say hi to either of you? Like to go? I'll introduce you to the groundhog Phyllis. It's almost 7-month-old groundhog. Now, we're welcome to pet. We will not pick her up though. And then just same rules, we're gonna touch only her back, never her head with a flat hand. Now, even though they are called groundhogs, or ground squirrels are a really common nickname, these guys are excellent at climbing. They have long hook claws that are perfect for grappling on, along with a false thumb. It's not an actual thumb, it's basically an appendage on her hand that looks and acts a lot like a thumb. Start to be thin. Right now, she's mainly picking up her winter weight, so soon, once it gets a little colder out, she's going to be going through her version of hibernation called torpor. That's something that all mammals that hibernate technically go through. It's where she'll be sleeping essentially about 23 hours a day, waking up to eat, ending up her food stash, poop, and go back to bed. Now, her weight will fluctuate throughout the period of 3 years. She's not going to be considered fully grown and mature until she is 3. But by the time winter ends, she will lose basically most of this weight. And then get back to her sleek-looking self. Now, their size can vary. As adults, they can weigh anywhere from 5 to 15 pounds. There's been occasional male.
And we have seen
So this here is Opal, and Opal is a 1.5-year-old opossum. Now, we are all more than welcome to pet. And for those of you who are 13 and older, we can actually hold her. Now, just like all of our animals, especially with her, we want you guys using a nice, gentle, flat hand, touching only her back and never her head. She's surprisingly soft, too. Now, opossums are awesome creatures. People don't quite realize how awesome these guys are. For one, they are North America's only marsupial. So when they're first born, they spend their first 2 to 3 months of their life living in a pouch. Now, after they spend about 2 to 3 months living in a pouch, now they are extremely helpful. They can eat over 1,000 ticks in just a week.
Wow.
They can eat venomous snakes, rats, mice, slugs, snails, ants, spiders, mosquitoes, and 95% of their population is immune to both rabies and Lyme disease. And that's why statistically, you're more likely to get a disease from an average cat, dog, or human than one of these guys. The only thing that absolutely sucks about these guys, very short lifespans. In the wild, they typically only live half a year to 2 years, and in captivity, only up to 4. Now, they do make up for that lifespan. They can have a lot of babies. So they can give birth to over 13 babies at once, have up to 3 litters of babies a year, and they're only pregnant for 2 weeks, you guys, which is just not fair.
That's incredible.
Yeah. There's actually cases of them giving birth to up to 19 babies at a time, you guys. They only have 13 nipples, though. They're actually the only mammal with odd number of nipples. The more you know.
So are the babies born premature? Or?
No,
They're just born tiny. That's how they're made.
the gestation is.
Why are you giving her attention and not me, Mom?
Yeah, she's jealous.
Oh no, she gets insanely jealous.
Non-animal
And just watch any fingers.
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom? Restrooms, they're outside the park and to the left, and you're welcome to come back inside if you do go out there. So now, was there anybody 13 and older that did want to hold Opal the opossum?
I'm exactly 13.
Now think of it less as you holding her as it is her holding you. While you're holding her, all you're going to want to really hold on to is her tail. She's going to be doing most of the work.
Hold on to her tail.
Just let her hold on to her. There we go.
So cool.
Don't worry, Phyllis. I didn't forget about you. I know you love your cuddles.
And usually here just possum, so is it opossum?
It is technically opossum. So all the ones here in North America are opossum. A possum is an actually Australian/New Zealand animal. They're brown in color, look completely different than ours. Ours are a little cooler too, but that's besides the point. I'm a little biased. Shoulder. So they have really bad eyesight, and that's why when they see us, they automatically hiss at us. They can only see up to 2 inches in front of them, so they automatically assume if something's bigger than them, that it will eat them, which is kind of, for the most part, true. You guys eat meat bigger than these guys. These guys are going to become lunch. There's actually still a lot of areas here in the U.S. where people actually eat these guys. Yep. Not an animal I want to eat personally. I'm a firm believer in you are what you eat. I've seen them eat extremely dead things.
I've been told they're like grizzlies.
So I'm going to just move your shoulder a little closer, and then just hold on to mainly the tail. Perfect. Sometimes if you have hoods, just as a heads up, she likes to sniff out hoods because she's finding out you're like her, you're marsupial too because you got a pouch.
What's your favorite thing to eat?
She gets a pretty varied diet, and she has a couple different favorites. Grapes and bananas are definitely 2 of her favorites, and apples too.
Grapes were the favorite. We had fruit that it's not because it was in a bad situation. We just had it till it was big enough to be on it.
Right, and seeing a lot of people do that. It's not legal here in Oregon because they're not a native species, but they're an animal. I know
because I tried to take it to my rehabilitation center and they wouldn't take it.
Yep.
So I reached out to someone who I knew that was aware of how to care for them and got the guidance that was necessary.
And that's the best thing you can do. I mean,
You're the owner of all of these.
your attitude, Missy.
You are jealous.
Oh no, she gets insanely jealous.
You're funny.
That's your hair color.
Fine, I'll put you back.
Oh my goodness.
You're my good boy.
Look at your
Yes,
mom.
you are. Yes, you are. Don't touch that hot wire.
It'll hurt. It'll be an owie.
Oh boy.
Yeah, we can tell the girl's not to reach through.
Oh boy, I'll see you later, Farrell. I got stuff to do.
Farrell.
Oh. Oh.
You want to talk to us? Hi, baby. Don't touch her. Farrell. Are you mad because she went inside and she didn't talk to you more?